You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey Days fans, it's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we got to talk about Chanel Dupree and Johnny DiMera's devastation when they found out their unborn baby died. And I also want to talk about what's next for them once they come back to Salem after their few months away. That begins soon. But hey, please subscribe if you haven't before we delve into this. So we knew already that there was potential trouble for Chanel's pregnancy. Not only was she exposed to iodine radiation early in the gestation process, but Dr. Mark Green told Chanel and Johnny that their unborn child had soft markers for congenital issues on their latest ultrasound. These are things they notice on the ultrasound that can mean something or nothing, but they can indicate an increased likelihood of a chromosomal issue. For instance, something that might cause Down syndrome. And Chanel was absolutely fine, pressing forward, ready to accept any challenges that came their way. But then everything changed this week. Chanel had horrible cramps while at her mom's. Johnny and Paulina rushed her to the hospital, and then Dr. Green told them they had lost the baby. Chanel miscarried. And he told them miscarriage is not uncommon. I have had a late-term miscarriage. After a certain time, they don't call it a miscarriage because I actually had to go through labor and delivery. So late-term pregnancy loss, absolutely soul-crushing and devastating at any stage, especially when, you're planning a baby and you're excited about the baby. It's just crushing. So this is kind of hard for me to watch. And probably for some of you out there that have been through this, it may be hard for you to watch as well. I do think they're doing a good job with it. And even though it's been years since I went through this, it's still, I have my tissues out. So the doctor on the soap said a fourth of pregnancies end in miscarriage. That's a little on the high side. Generally, from my research, I went back to look because I had looked at this at the time when I was dealing with this issue. It's about 10 to 20% of known pregnancies that result in a loss. And what it means by known pregnancy, some people miscarry and never even knew they were pregnant, because I also had a bunch of infertility issues, and my doctors told me later that they suspected I had several early losses. So if you're someone who's dealt with this, this is a heartbreaking story, and I'm sorry for your loss if you have dealt with this. So what's kind of awful in the timing is that when they were filming this, Carson Boatman's wife, Carson Boatman plays Johnny, of course, Carson Boatman's wife was heavily pregnant. She gave birth just before Christmas 2023, and that's about when they were shooting this, because there's like a 6 to 7 month tape to air delay. And Days actually wrote out Chanel and Johnny so that Carson could go out on paternity leave. It had to be difficult filming something like that with a pregnant wife at home about to give birth. That seems like it would be very stressful as an actor. And by the way, Johnny and Chanel, if you haven't seen the latest episodes, fully blame Paulina Price for them losing the baby. That is, of course, difficult. But when you have a tragedy in your life, especially something like this that feels so senseless, you want to know who or what is to blame. On the flip side, if Paulina hadn't found Chanel might have frozen to death while pregnant, and there wouldn't have been a baby. But that's a very hard thing to balance in your mind. And there's not a lot of data on women exposed to radioactive iodine like Paulina had. It's like secondhand exposure, suffering miscarriages, because it's such a rare thing to even be exposed to it. And so there's just not a lot of data, not a statistically significant amount. So it's kind of odd. And at any rate, Chanel has lost the baby, and a lot of fans are on fire about it because all of the horrible baby drama they've had lately, over the past year, really, on Days of Our Lives, you'd almost think the showrunner just doesn't like babies or something. I mean, we've had stolen babies, temporarily kidnapped babies, a pregnancy terminated, Nicole thinking her baby was dead, Sloane's pregnancy loss. That's just off the top of my head. There's probably been more. I saw a kind of a funny tweet by somebody named Steven Tank over on X that said, Ron needs to give us a break on dead babies. I know that this one was never full term, but still, give us a break. And in the tweet, he put a photo of one pointing, and the caption said, okay, that's enough. And I agree. It's enough. It's just too much. And on top of that, Jude and Victoria weren't even real babies for months. So they didn't want a baby on this set. They were basically beach towels wrapped in swaddling blankets. And it just doesn't feel like the baby friendliest soap, am I right? So all of that said, I just wonder if Chanel and Johnny will return to Salem after his Hollywood gig with her pregnant again, pregnant with a rainbow baby. And if you don't know the term, a rainbow baby is a pregnancy after any accidental pregnancy loss. It's basically a parallel to a rainbow after a storm, a sign of hope after tragedy. And clearly this miscarriage will be their last big drama before the couple leaves town. And Johnny and Chanel may both still be angry at Paulina when they leave, because they both are now. They're definitely throwing her dagger eyes. My question is, though, if they're going to come back hating Paulina less and maybe with a rainbow baby on the way. You know, of course, this pregnancy was accidental, but immediately welcome to both of them. You know, they're married, they want children together. So they might think that trying again soon is a way to help heal their broken hearts. They're headed to Los Angeles right now because Johnny got a job with a director he admires, and Chanel says she can bake cookies anywhere. If I recall the spoilers correctly, they're still in town next week, I think. I don't have the spoilers right in front of me right this second. So I just wonder, at any rate, if Chanel and Johnny are going to get to work on another baby as soon as possible, maybe while they're gone. You know, usually they recommend you wait a few months after a pregnancy loss, but this is so bland, so medical logic doesn't really apply, especially in a town that resurrects people routinely. So I think it could be a really joyful and triumphant return in a few months if Chanel came back with Johnny and they were pregnant and they've forgiven Paulina and they've stopped blaming her for the pregnancy loss. And the DiMera mansion may need another baby to liven it up. I'm assuming Nicole takes her and Eric's son Jude with her when she leaves town, because I'm also assuming she finds out EJ's big fat father lie and that's what makes her leave. We'll see, but looks like there might be a fully equipped nursery sitting empty waiting on another baby. And just maybe, you know, that'd be great. It would be a grandkid for EJ and a son or daughter, or maybe one of each if Chanel's lucky, like her big sister Lonnie Price has twins. I'm hoping they do come back pregnant and everything goes smoothly with their follow-on pregnancy. But for now, it's heartbreaking to watch their heartbreak, especially if you've been through this ordeal. And again, if you have, my heart breaks for you also. So let me know what you think. Is there too much baby tragedy lately on Days? And are you hoping that the couple comes back pregnant and they're trying for another baby soon? Will you miss Chanel and Johnny while they're gone? I will. I enjoy them. Drop your comments, subscribe if you're not following us, and thank you if you are. And be sure and come back 7 days a week. We're here talking Days of Our Lives with me, Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.